We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go, go.
Where are we going to go live today?
Well, I think we're welcoming some pretty exciting visitors here today. Shall we
Welcome.
reveal where?
Absolutely. Look, wherever you are in the world, it could be good morning, it could be good afternoon, it could be good evening, but welcome to Brisbane Airport. Right now, you are seeing live pictures from runway cam out there on the runway, currently passing the domestic terminal. Look how good it looks. It is pre-dawn here, probably looking at sunup in about 38 minutes time. So we're going to see a glorious sunrise.
We are this morning, and what a way to welcome some new passengers here to Brisbane.
Yeah, and let's check how that flight is coming, because we have been checking and tracking it all the way, look, from Texas up there, all the way across the Pacific. We are, of course, tracking American Airlines AA7 from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, making its inaugural flight to Brisbane Airport. And look, we are not that far away. They have covered the Pacific overnight, looking at about a 16-hour flight, and we are probably within 20 minutes of landing here in Brisbane Airport. So this is going to be an exciting moment, and we have every angle covered, including what we're really excited about is that runway cam, which is, look at that, and currently passing the domestic terminal there. Believe it or not, Monday morning is the busiest time at Brisbane Airport of the entire week. And between 6 and 7, 4,000 passengers depart the domestic terminal, and they're flying to the mining regions across Queensland. They are fly-in, fly-out workers. They're really crucial to the resources industry. And just look at those planes. Fantastic shot coming in from our runway cam. If you like that angle, hit the like button now, folks, because we need to know which angles you really like. So if you like the angle coming from runway cam, give it a big like. And look, we're in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, third biggest city in Australia, but we want to hear where you are tuning in from. So in the comments, let us know where you're coming from. We'll say good day, very Australian term,
Yes, it is.
and welcome you to our stream.
Now, just going back to that runway cam, have we revealed how we're getting that shot yet?
I would love if people could drop in the comments what platform you think we're using for that. And look on that billboard there. That's the American Airlines billboard on the side of our car park. Our hosting position is just above that. See where it says P1? We're just above there. And you can see that magnificent American Airlines billboard, which has been on the side of our car park for about the last month, letting all of Brisbane and Queensland know that American Airlines is coming, and finally this morning is the day it arrives.
It's here. Discover the world indeed. So I spent a bit of time in Texas earlier this year.
We should have introduced you.
Yes.
So Sammy Cheney is the series producer for The Great Outdoors. It's a fantastic travel show on the 7 network in Australia, and you actually travelled to Texas on American Airlines.
Yes, we did.
And you've done some stories over there, so tell us about it.
We did, yeah. So that was earlier this year, and those stories, they're airing on the 7 network at the moment, and it couldn't feel like a more perfect time to get that destination in front of people's eyes, and particularly across Australia, of what we can do when we go over to Texas. So we spent some time in Dallas, we spent some time in Fort Worth, we went to a couple of different ranches, and then went up to Route 66, which Texas is home to. It's home to the midway point of Route 66, which is really special. So great characters. They call it, it's the Lone Star State, and on its state flag, it's got that big star, and they have big hearts and are very welcoming to their home. So today we get to show them how welcoming we are and what we have in our big, beautiful backyard of Brisbane and beyond.
And a big shout out to the folks at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. They were on the socials this morning letting people know about this stream. So, and what's really exciting, I'm the Media and Comms Director here at Brisbane Airport. Been here 2 years. Before that, I was a TV journo with a local network for 30 years. Look at that shot. How good does that billboard look? And in 2.5 years, we've done probably 20 to 30 airline launches. This is the first one where the CEO from the departing airport, Dallas-Fort Worth, has actually come to here for the flight. So he's here this morning. We're looking forward to welcome him here at our media launch following this event. So good that the CEO of DFW can join us. And really that just shows how committed they are to seeing this launch. Travel Texas is here. So today is about connecting the state of Queensland with the state of Texas and beyond. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, it's quite perfect actually. And can we talk about who's on this aircraft? What capacity are we at?
Yes.
People.
So the exciting thing when I checked on Friday, this flight was more than 80% full. You can see there we're still just cruising around the domestic terminal there. Lots of flights standing by to get ready. We will see the first arrivals probably in about 3, 4, 5 minutes. Usually Darwin and Perth are the first arrivals into Brisbane, and then the rush hour starts. So all the gates are full. Look at the parking bays out there, lots of remote stands as well, and 40% of the flights that go out of Brisbane Airport are heading to the regions. So Queensland is a very decentralised state. We've got lots of cities and towns a huge distance away.
Absolutely.
And so this airport is really crucial to connecting the entire state of Queensland. It's the most connected domestic airport in Australia. So from this airport, you can get to 62 airports around Australia. Some of them are mine sites, some of them are major cities, but it is the most connected domestic port in Australia. It's also the most connected in terms of the Pacific. So this is a hub for so many island nations. So whether it's heading to Fiji or Vanuatu, so many of those destinations, Brisbane is how you get there. If you're liking these pictures, guys, hit the like button. Look at that. That's a Jetstar flight, one of our low-cost carriers. Interestingly, Jetstar has gone from the 6th biggest international carrier at Brisbane Airport up to number 2. And that's on the back of some really important route launches over the past year. They're now flying to Tokyo. They're flying to Osaka. They're flying to Seoul. They're launching services to Bangkok soon. Yes. So Jetstar, really popular. So many people flying to New Zealand, so many flying throughout our region and grabbing those low-cost fares as well.
So we might just take a look at the comments and see what we've got coming through. We've got a DFW ramp worker. Miguel says, this is so cool. Yes, it is very cool. I was a bit excited to sleep last night. Waiting for...
Did you get any sleep at all?
A couple of hours. I was tracking the flight all night, and I think when I remember going over Hawaii, that was obviously quite some time ago now, but how long have we got now? It's going by very quickly.
Yeah, so interestingly, overnight we've had so many anxious people contacting us because the arrivals time that was on some of the tracking devices was suggesting an arrival about an hour ago, and everyone was in a panic thinking we were going to miss this flight.
They're too keen to get here.
But look, as soon as it took off, we spoke to our American Airlines partners. They got onto the captain on board the plane.
It's very cool.
He gave us the ETA, and so we've been working towards that while we've had 1,000 messages saying, you guys are going to miss this. We were never going to miss this.
Never.
We've been planning this for all year, so we're so glad. This is our backdrop. This is the Story Bridge, a banner of the Story Bridge. It's one of the icons of Brisbane, but something interesting happened there yesterday.
Well, I was saying to Pete earlier, when you come to Brisbane, you can't miss the Story Bridge. Depending on where you fly in, you might get a glimpse of it from the air. But when you're on ground, you can't miss it. And it's a great way to get above Brisbane River. You can climb it. There are actual climbs you can do from dawn through to dusk. But if you were on that bridge climb yesterday, you probably would have got quite the surprise because we had around 5,000 nudists on the Story Bridge. Now, it was all okay to do. It was I'm just imagining if that was behind us now. It was by New York photographer Spencer Tunick, and he gathered all of these people on the bridge, and I wasn't there to see it physically, but I did see the photos, the drone photography that came out of it yesterday. And yeah, if you did the climb at that time, it would have been quite the surprise to see while up there. But coming in from today, they won't be there. So yes, do put that on your list when you come in, though. The bridge climb, it's a spectacular sight.
Just looking in the chat, Randy's pointing out it looks like that straight after the American Airlines flight, we'll have QF17 from Los Angeles, and that is correct. Probably about 3 minutes after it. You can see the screen there, one of our airside safety vehicles. I need to call this out. This is a bit of a first. So this is a EV, electric vehicle. It's the Ford Lightning. It's brand new to our tarmac. It's one, the suppliers have told us it could be one of the first to be used in an airside application. It was imported into Brizzy recently, and at a company up on the north side had to do a conversion because it arrived with American steering, so we drive on the right side of the road. It arrived as a left-hand steering car. The company up there converts around 3 vehicles per day, and we've just purchased 2. So this is one of the first trials out on the airfield of the new Ford Lightning. That's Aaron Pond there, our head of safety. He's also out there driving one of our crews around. So they, I'm guessing, have now set up immediately beside the runway so that they're going to get the best shot coming into town. So, but this Ford Lightning, we have been electrifying our entire fleet. One thing in doing the research for this, which is really fascinating, is that DFW and Brisbane Airport actually have a whole lot of things in common, and one of them is leading in terms of sustainability. Both airports are leaders in their own nations, and with their CEO here over the next couple of days, that's one of the things we're going to be exploring. Absolutely. We are getting close to having our first arrival here, by the way. It will be a domestic service, and then we'll get a bit of a feel for how close our cameras are to the runway and what those flights are looking at on your screen. But just checking, still over water. We'll, I guess the first land point, there we go. We've got our first arrival. And we'll just pull that up and see what we're tracking with. But Moreton Island will be the first point that we know that American Airlines is getting close. But currently, we have on final approach our first arrival of the morning, and it is a Jetstar flight from Darwin, just passing through 900 feet, and it is an Airbus A320. So this is one of our cameras out on the runway. It's a fixed camera. It's the one with the Ford Lightning, operated by Luke. And they wanted to get out there early just to, check their lenses, check the distance, so that we've probably got 3 arrivals before we get to American Airlines, and we want to get it exactly right. And I can hear the birds chirping. I can hear Brisbane waking up.
And a big welcome from Darwin into Brisbane here this morning.
Now, one of Sammy's talents is, because she's a producer of a travel show, any city, any town we can name today, she can give us a top 3. Darwin, top 3.
Okay, Darwin. Darwin, I actually only visited for the first time. It was over Christmas last year. It was not for work, which was lovely. And it was, of course, it was warm, but then I returned this year in the winter, and it was warm again. It's beautiful year round. So Darwin, we came into, and this was also for the Great Outdoors. We actually flew into Darwin. We hopped on a chopper flight, and we went over Litchfield National Park, which was just spectacular. We just dropped into a little cattle station there, Finnis River Lodge. So if you get up there, put that on your list.
What appeals to me about Darwin is you can take a helicopter flight and it lands you on a set of waterfalls.
Yes.
You actually land on a waterfall. You get out, you have a swim, and then you hop back in your helicopter and fly home. I'm going to do that one day.
You have to do it, because that's the flight that we took. And Sandy Creek Fall was where we landed, and it was just, you had it all to yourself.
So almost down. Our first arrival in the morning. And to the right of screen, you'll see a photographer. That is Josh Wanning. He is here to capture shots for basically online and every newspaper in the world. So he'll be working hard this morning, trying to turn those shots around as quickly as we can. Let's have a listen to the noise, check the mics are working fine.
673, remain this frequency being taxi by Yankee, Bravo, and Charlie 3 Tango. Yankee, Bravo, Charlie 3 Tango, Jetstar 673, good day.
And you can see in the background there the lights of Brisbane. And Brisbane has 2 runways. It's a parallel runway system. This is on the new runway, the newer runway that opened during COVID. And that's where air traffic control have indicated that American Airlines AA7 will land. that has been changing overnight. It depends on winds, it depends on traffic movements, but the latest advice we have is that it will be landing on that runway and we'll be there to capture it. We've just had a message from someone, and let's just scroll back up. From
Tiana.
and
Now,
yeah,
this has just taken us by surprise. I'm on the flight now. We're getting excited to land.
I was wondering whether anyone on board would be tuning into our live stream. That is cool. If you can send us some messages here, tell us what the flight's been like. We will read that out. We would love that. That is so cool. The fact that she's sitting there on the plane with Wi-Fi,
Very cool.
watching this stream, that is quite cool.
Yes.
I like that.
A big hello to
Yeah.
everyone on board. This is very exciting.
Let us know what row you're in, and we'll read out some comments. But folks, we would love to get this stream out to lots of other people. So if you could hit the like button right now, that would be fine. And also if you could share it. If you've got friends in other parts of the world, you might know people on a group chat, you might know people on an aviation enthusiast page. Dump the YouTube link in there right now. And the cool thing is that right now, this is the most tracked flight in the world. And from the moment it took off, from DFW, it went to #1, and we've been talking to the folks from Flight Radar. A big shout out to them. They are supplying our graphics there, and it's been #1 most of the time for the last 16 hours. 2,276 people tracking that flight. Not all of them are watching our stream, so if you can help get that message out, that would be absolutely sensational, so we get the word out and as many people can tune in to our stream as possible. You can see out on the domestic apron there, lots of Qantas and Qantas Link flights getting ready. So Qantas Link serve many of those regional routes in Queensland. Brisbane connects to lots of cities right up and down the Queensland coast, be it Cairns, Townsville, Mackay, Bundaberg, and then out to regional centres like Longreach and Mount Isa. What's your favourite regional town?
Longreach. And Longreach, that covers everything for me. It's my favourite town. Can I say that? It's my favourite town in all of Australia. My heart warms when I go out there, and whether it's flying or whether you are driving, but flying, there's something about coming in and seeing this town from above. The people there, I would say, are quite similar to those in Texas. They've got big land and they're really happy to show you about out there. And so I would have to say that it's my favourite. There's plenty to do.
And the important thing is it's also the home of Qantas. So if you go to Longreach,
Out to
you
the
can
Founders
go
Museum.
see the most incredible museum. There is a 747 there. There are lots of aircraft. A quick anecdote. A number of years ago, Qantas made the decision to gift a 747 to the town of Longreach. We are talking about a small town, a very small town. Like, this is not a city, this is a town.
Yes.
And they put a huge amount of effort into stripping out as much weight out of that aircraft as possible. Minimum everything. They took the seats out. They really stripped it back.
Absolutely.
And on one magnificent day, they landed the wing. They had to shut down the outboard engines, the ones right out, because it would kick up so much dust, so much of that red dust. I actually covered that story for Channel 7.
That's
and
special.
the bizarre thing is, and my mum went to the museum 6 weeks ago on a caravan trip, and as you walk in, they're playing a video showing the landing, and it's my
Pete.
story, it's my voice. So I'm on loop and repeat in the Longreach.
Everywhere you go, yes.
So,
absolutely. And you can go out on the... Is it
you
out
can
on-
do a wing walk.
Yes,
You can
I haven't
actually-
done that.
yeah,
I've seen it,
you
but I
can-
haven't done it.
You can do a wing walk, and at night time they project a light show onto the wings and the fuselage of that 747. It's one of the most outstanding things in the outback.
Absolutely.
As we watch and see that's the Darwin flight we saw land just a little earlier, heading towards the bay. But Longreach, definitely an absolute fantastic town to get to because it captures the heart of the outback, but also the heart of Qantas. And it is really, I just got to share, the first time I went there, I was in a private plane with John Travolta. And John Travolta, who was a patron of Qantas and a huge Qantas fan, he took a group of media out to look at the museum, and I was fortunate enough to be on the plane with John Travolta. We took off. There was only about 12 people on board, and then they came up to each person and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Travolta would like to see you now." And they would take us up the front and get a photo with John. You had
A photo.
5 minutes with John just sitting there chatting.
have a chat.
And I can remember my cameraman came up and he sat down, Mark Michalak, and he
Okay.
said,
Good morning to Mark.
What do you want to talk to me about? And it was just one of those moments. But we flew out, showed John Travolta the Qantas Museum, hopped back in the plane and came back to Brisbane. That was a fantastic experience.
That's very exciting. Very exciting indeed.
So back to our flight tracker, let's check American Airlines, and you can also check to see whether we've had any messages from our passenger who is on board the flight. Now, there's a bit of a race happening. It's been happening across the Pacific all night between the Los Angeles Qantas flight and the flight from Dallas. And look, we thought the Dallas flight was going to get in first. Qantas, look, it's a bit neck and neck at the moment, so either way, both are going to arrive, I think, within about 3 minutes of each other. And the significant thing about this new flight from Dallas is it's actually a partnership between Qantas and American Airlines as well.
Okay, so we've just got a reply from Tiana. I'm here with my 3-year-old, been waiting to go on this flight as soon as it was announced. Seating 25L.
How cool.
That is very cool.
Let's just... I know it's easy to take technology for granted, but just unpack this. We're doing a live stream from Brisbane Airport, and there's someone currently sitting in a plane at 10,000 feet. They've flown across the Pacific, and they are watching this live stream. That just blows my mind. And if it doesn't blow your mind, sometimes it's easy to get blasé. Have a look at runway cam. What an absolute view. So we should talk and let people know how we're getting these pictures. And a big shout out to our videographer out there, Anthony. He's doing a great job getting these pictures. And the two teams in these cars which are bringing... There you go. Check that out.
We've revealed it.
There is the Tesla with the camera on board. So earlier in the week, we were hiring a chopper. So the camera you're seeing on top of the Tesla usually sits on a helicopter, and it's usually flown by a helicopter pilot. But today, we have the helicopter pilot driving the car, and... we're bringing you these magnificent pictures, and really we just looked at, in terms of light, in terms of availability, around access around the tarmac, that putting the helicopter camera onto the Tesla actually made a whole lot of sense. And you can see it's got a runway escort there by our airside safety team. But spectacular pictures coming off that camera. If you like them, guys, hit like, let the world know. Look at that. And they're just such a dynamic picture because we're essentially flying around the airport at about, 1.5 meters off the ground on the top of this Tesla. And very soon we'll be getting shots of that aircraft. But look at it gleaming across the runway there, that Tesla. Fantastic. To our knowledge, no airport live stream has done a setup like this where we're essentially flying you around the runway on top of a Tesla. Zero emissions as well, which is really nice. Look at those Jetstar tails. And in the background on the left, that is the international terminal where American Airlines flight will head to once it lands. It will head to Gate 80. And it's currently 8 minutes away, folks. There's the international terminal. Welcome to Matt Cam. That's the first pictures we've just seen from Matt, who is now online. And he's going to be... Basically, the plane's going to pull up right in front of him. So we're really looking forward to that moment.
So we just heard back from Tiana. Tiana says, I'm an Australian living in Dallas, Texas. Been so excited for the non-stop destination. Easier to travel to Grandma.
Isn't that nice?
That's special.
And you know what? At the end of the day, what do we exist for as an airport? What do we exist for as an airline? It's to connect people. And right there, I've got goosebumps.
Yeah,
We've heard that story.
I'd love to keep chatting to Tiana on more. I want to know where's Grandma? Is Grandma in Brisbane? Is Grandma watching this live stream, maybe?
Send Grandma the link.
Hello, Grandma.
Absolutely. And in fact, inside the terminal, if Grandma is standing there, there is a 12-metre by 3-metre screen showing this broadcast right now. So perhaps Grandma is watching this stream right now in our terminal. But that's just so cool. Now, a quick update. American Airlines is just about to touch the edge of Moreton Island. Moreton Island, it's a sand island, right?
Moreton Island, yeah, it is a sand island. It's actually, it can lay claim to, I believe it's the third largest sand island in the world. And it's home to whales and it's wrecks that you can snorkel and dive around. There's dolphins. And as you arrive to Moreton Island, there's a resort there as well, Tangalooma Island Resort. So as you have to get the ferry over there. And when you hop off, straight to your right is that resort. And you can arrive by car, and that will give you access to explore.
You can arrive by helicopter too, you know.
Well, yes, you can do that as well. Yes, you can. And it's there's so much. It's an island. It's paradise, and it's not far from Brisbane at all. So you can hand feed dolphins. You can have a cold beverage under the palm trees, and you can sit back and have Brisbane City as the skyline.
And
like
speaking of Brisbane City, look at that.
Wow.
We're still probably 14 minutes away. Guys, a good morning to our friends from Air Services Australia in the Tower. They look after an enormous part of airspace, not over Australia, but also across our entire region. How good does that tracking shot look of the tower? That is absolutely magnificent.
Good morning up there.
So a good morning. We actually popped up there earlier in the week to have a chat when we thought we were having a helicopter, but now we've popped that camera down onto the Tesla. Far easier for everybody to manage because we're not trying to negotiate a chopper. But that is an absolutely magnificent shot. And thanks to Anthony and the crew in the Tesla bringing it to us. So just a quick heads up, guys. The LA flight is on final. So they've been dueling across the Pacific all the way. From LAX, the QF16. It has made it in. It'll be in first. And right behind it, only about 4 minutes away now, is the arrival of that American Airlines AA7. Now, exciting thing that's happening is not only is our feed going to YouTube, and we'd love you guys, wherever you are in the world, hit that like button, hit that share, let people know it's coming, but also the TV networks. The TV networks in Australia are also taking these feeds live.
Yeah, live this morning, which is really awesome because this is just, as we said, it's the most tracked flight at this stage, and everyone is just excited to welcome our new Texan friends here to Brisbane. Now, just having a look at these comments, I love this one. Why am I insanely excited? It's like the Beatles' arrival in Sydney in 1964. Got a few celebs that are popping up this morning. John Travolta,
Yeah.
Beatles.
And look, when the Beatles arrived back in Brisbane, there was a bit of an incident here at Brisbane Airport. They got egged when they arrived here on the tarmac. And by a member of Parliament, or he's now a member of Parliament, Bob Catter. But back then he was a rebellious student. But have a look at runway cam. You can see they are moving out to the new runway to get in position for the first of our international arrivals, QF16 from Los Angeles.
American 7 Heavy is ILS 100 right.
American 7 Heavy, Brisbane Tower, good morning, welcome to Brisbane.
You heard it there. There was the welcome to Brisbane for American Airlines. Actually, you can see them stacked there. So there is the flight from Qantas from Los Angeles, and immediately behind it,
Remote market areas, right, for the day.
American Airlines. So only about 3 minutes to go. So we were talking about the TV networks. If you've got a second or third screen in your house and you're watching in Australia, Sunrise on the 7 network will be dipping in for some live coverage. And also the Today Show on the 9 network will also be dipping in for some live coverage. So whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on an old school TV, we have got this covered, and people are seeing it around the world.
We also have some aviation enthusiasts up here as well with us.
Lots of photographers up here with us, either side. And also, there are a group of about 20 or 30 lucky people who entered a prize, and they're out beside the runway. We can see them now in silhouette, including Julia Flights, who's one of the other. We've got 2 resident live streamers here in Brisbane. Have a look at that Qantas plane. That is sensational, coming in there. And on final approach, the Airbus A330, and of course this week Qantas announcing that it would also start putting a Dreamliner back onto that service. That is very popular with... Look at that. How good. Let's just enjoy that landing for a moment. Right, so that means our next aircraft is American Airlines AAL7 from Dallas, Fort Worth. Only about 1 or 2 minutes away now. Look at that rolling through. Well, we said we'd give people a front row seat. I think that's a pretty front row seat.
special, yeah.
And look at Brisbane in the background, looking
What a
majestic at
welcome.
this time of day. Still about 9 minutes to go before sunrise. It is a cloudy day, so we're not going to get that magnificent sunrise up here, but still very gentle light. The cameras are actually, it's actually still pretty dark here, but the cameras are doing a good job milking the most of the light, and very overcast, coolish day. It was windy when we were setting up here last night.
It was. Very still now, which is lovely.
And there you heard it, cleared to land for American Airlines from Dallas Fort Worth International Airport. The last 20 minutes have gone by very, very quickly.
quick.
All of a sudden we're here. It's on screen.
Just talking about the weather here, we've got greetings from Dallas Fort Worth. It's a beautiful Sunday here.
And so cool that people in DFW can tune in and watch this stream. We also know we've got people from American Airlines around the world tuning in, people from Swissport who are the ground handlers, so many companies who are involved in this flight. Qantas, so many partners are tuned in. We've got it on screen there. That's a pretty long zoom lens, so we're still a little bit out, but let's stand by to welcome that first flight into Brizzy after about a 16-hour flight across the Pacific. This aircraft actually will spend 24 hours on the ground here, so that's to allow us to do some media with it. Travel agents will be coming on board, lots of people. But let's just slow it down and let's just listen to this arrival of American Airlines flight from Dallas Fort Worth Airport.
Well, it's 9:42, Brisbane Tower. Good morning. Where are you parked this morning?
We're waiting for bay 22.
Copy that. They do have a clearance. Hopefully they push it through.
Fingers crossed. Thank you.
Welcome to Brisbane, American Airlines flight AA7 Dallas Fort Worth International Airport to Queensland, linking the Lone Star State with the Sunshine State. How good. And look at those pictures. Absolutely magnificent from runway cam.
And I feel like we need to give a shout out back to Tiana. Tiana, welcome. A big
Welcome to
personal
Brisbane.
welcome.
And not just you. If you can let anyone
Everyone on
know in
board.
25 row, 24 row, 26, a big welcome from Brisbane, from Queensland, from Australia. Look at those pictures. absolutely sensational from runway cam. Great job, guys, as it's just exiting the runway 19 right. And it actually has a long taxiway to go back to the international terminal. It's probably going to take about 8 minutes. So that's really good because it means we're going to get to have a really good look at this aircraft along the way. You can see yeah, so it's going to come right by us, actually.
Behind us.
Look at the pilots there. Wouldn't it be great to get away from them? You can see the pilots in there. How good are these pictures? Absolutely fantastic. And we are going to track with that aircraft all the way back to the bay, all the way back to Brisbane Airport. It will come into gate 80, which, look, the reason we're putting it on gate 80, it's right under the Brisbane International Airport sign, so it's the best pictures. And those pickies will go around. There it is, the Brisbane International sign. Those pickies will go around the world. As soon as we get off air, I actually will put out a media release with the best photos, the best images. And we're actually tracking on the taxiway with this flight back to the bay. Fantastic pictures. Give us a like, folks, if you like it. Give us a share. We've still probably got 10 minutes of tracking back to the terminal.
And we did have a comment that came in asking, how do we get a job like this?
You go first.
I go first. Well, I fly for work. I fly a lot. I spend a lot of time here departing and then arriving. And for me, you never lose that excitement about going somewhere and also coming home as well, especially when home looks like this. So I travel a lot for work, producing stories for the 7 Network here in Australia, where we show people in Australia where they can go. So, and that's around the country and around the world.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a helicopter pilot.
Yes.
Instead, I decided to become a TV reporter who flew around the world in a helicopter, and now I work at an airport helping to tell these great stories. Look at these pictures. This is his first American Airlines flight. It's starting today at 5 services per week. By December, it will be up to 7 services. They're our plane spotters who won that competition on the left on that grassy mound out there. They are giving a wave. Great moment for them. They are so up close. Their pictures will be absolutely sensational, and they really have a front row seat. But also our general public who are in an area called the Loop. You'll see that shortly. Oh, look at that. That is a magnificent shot. Hello to everybody out there, including Julia Flights, who's one of our streamers who's capturing some content. That looks fantastic. Give us a big wave, guys. How good does that look? And I'm so excited that it ended up landing on that runway, because that meant they really did get a front row seat as that aircraft is now taxiing between the 2 runways. So we mentioned that twin. Have a look inside the. Look at that. I think they're getting ready for something special. Let's keep an eye on that and see what happens. We may have a special treat there for you, folks. Give it a like if you're liking what you see. Give it a share if you can.
Looks like they're...
Yeah, look, I think they're getting a flag ready.
Yes.
I can see an American flag there.
I can see a few stars there.
And a very special moment coming up in a moment that we're hoping we can capture from every angle. But look, looks like we're coming around in front of that aircraft. So good that Runway Cam has this access under escort from our airside team. You can see if you look behind us, Sammy, they've come all the way from behind or all the way around the front.
Look at this.
And you can see, there it is. So that building behind is the fire station here. There are 2. They're located next to both runways. That's the newer one. And behind it is the general aviation area, which is also getting very busy. A lot of freight going through there. And a lot of people to regional and remote centres. And shortly we'll pass by the Loop area where we'll see more public. I imagine it would be absolutely chockers this morning because so many people in Brisbane want to get out here.
We've had someone write in asking a question.
About whether there'll be a water cannon salute. There won't be this morning. But look at those pictures. There we have those 2 flights back to back as we prepare to make a right-hand turn and make our way down to the international terminal. As I said, probably about a 10-minute taxiway. Now, let's have a look. Here comes the flags. How good is that? An Australian and American flag, because this is not just linking 2 cities. This is linking 2 countries. Look at that. That is fantastic.
Oh, wow.
And of course, at DFW, there was the Australian Consul General over there. Here in Brisbane today, we will have the US Consul General. So it is important to remember that this is not just a link between two airports or two cities or two states, but it is also the link between two countries, Australia and the United States, who have been very close partners for many, many years. I can't believe those pictures. They look absolutely fantastic.
Maybe go a bit of a look at the American flag as well.
And I can honestly say, runway cam on the top of a Tesla was the way to go, because you wouldn't have had a helicopter in this close. It would have been sitting up nice and high. But really amazing front row shots there. Not just going out on YouTube, but going out on the Today Show in Australia, on Sunrise, also, so both local Sunrise programs, both breakfast programs in Australia, taking those pictures live from us. Lucky for them, they're not getting our commentary, Sammy. They're just getting the beautiful sounds and sights. And just a bit of context there is just for size, looking at that Dreamliner as it heads past there. Fantastic pictures. And look, we thought we might only get those flags out the top for a few seconds, but I think they're going all the way to gate 80 with those flags.
Flying in unison as well. It's this is a very memorable moment.
In the foreground there, before that was the Qantas Flight 942 from Perth, about 4 or 5 hours flight across the continent, and we usually see several Perth flights arrive right at the start of the day. I reckon we're about halfway through the taxi for this, all the way down to gate 80, and then we'll start to see some of the process of how this plane is, what happens once we get to the gate, and the process for unloading the freight and getting the aero bridge up, and so we'll see some of that, but that's still a little way to come. But there's actually 2 crew on this inaugural flight, and the first flight back to Dallas will go out tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. So we've got a 24-hour turnaround. And can we talk a little bit about, once that flight goes from Brisbane to Dallas-Fort Worth, what connectivity options do we have from there?
It's mind-blowing. So from Dallas-Fort Worth, you can get to 200 destinations, and we're talking right across every state of the USA. We're talking about Latin America, the Caribbean, huge amount of connectivity. So for people coming to Brisbane, or Brisbane people heading overseas, once you hit Dallas, huge options for anywhere you want to go.
Quad 501, runway 01 right, clear takeoff.
Some other interesting facts connecting these two airlines, these two airports. DFW is the 3rd busiest airport in the world, and then that again speaks to so many destinations. Brisbane Airport is the 3rd busiest airport in Australia, and DFW is just been celebrating its 50th birthday. Brisbane Airport is about to celebrate its 100th birthday. So,
got anything special planned? I imagine
we have a big year of celebrations. We haven't gone public with that yet, Sammy.
Okay.
But there are some very cool things.
Secrets?
Because, 100 years of aviation in this one spot here. It started just down the road at Eagle Farm. It saw heavy war service during World War II. It was the Americans who built some of those original runways, because a quick history lesson, Brisbane became the command centre for the fight by the Americans and the Australians to take back the Pacific when war unfolded across the Pacific. So lots of war history here. General Douglas MacArthur came to Brisbane and made it his base. And so the airport, the foundations of our airport were part of that war effort. And then in the 1980s, the airport moved a little further down towards Moreton Bay so we could get those flights out straight over the water, and also to put the airport further away from the suburbs. And so next year, throughout the year of 2025, we will celebrate 100 years of Brisbane Airport and the many stories. And the thing when you mention that, people remember their childhood and the airlines they used to fly and all the memories. So this is a project that's going to involve the community because it's their memories that are special
Part of that.
about the first time they flew and the airlines that they used to go on.
Reflecting on where they'd been. I wonder if you'll get a special letter in the mail for turning 100.
From a monarch, perhaps.
Perhaps. They were just here.
They were. Now, we've just switched to another camera. So Luke, who was beside the runway, has done a big leapfrog, and he's now right opposite gate 80 in an area that will give us the best picture as it turns onto the gate. You can also see the Tesla just off to the right and the airside safety vehicle. They have done a fantastic job. And the good thing is the transmission link that we put on top of that aircraft has performed faultlessly, because it's one thing to get the pictures, it's another thing to get them back to us
Absolutely.
here in our broadcast centre. But as it tracks past those flags, there it is. The
There it
Tesla's done a
is.
great job, as has our airside safety vehicle with Aaron as the driver and Luke as his navigator. Thanks, guys. Fantastic job of getting us those pictures live throughout the morning. They're up here. Our broadcast host position is actually on the top of the domestic terminal car park on level 9. So we've set up our broadcast infrastructure here. There's probably,
Joined by a few others.
yeah, probably a dozen photographers up here. So the photographers are mainly in 3 spots throughout the airport. They're on top of the car park. They're down on the grass where we saw before, and they're also at the Loop, the public viewing area, which I must say is incredibly popular. You can go there any time of the day, and so many people, families, enthusiasts out to witness aviation up close. We're probably only about a minute away from this aircraft pulling up at the gate, and it's going to come right past our cameras. You can see our airside safety vehicle there coming in. I wonder if their arms are sore. They've been holding those flags out for a long time, but they look so good. Don't worry, folks. There are enough crew on board this flight that it's not the pilots in command are doing this. It's the other crew. And as I said, there is a double set of crew on this first flight coming into Brisbane Airport. Gate 75 there. The international airport about to get busy, so we're about to see a big bank of arrivals. The international terminal is really busy in the morning. That's where we get most of our arrivals. And these people are going to actually get a nice gift. So as they get off the plane, they don't realise it, but we'll be telling our person in gate 25 they'll be getting a very special treat. We'll talk about that in a moment. But right now, let's see this aircraft pull up at the gate. We'll have a little listen and let you hear the sounds as well. Just about to pull up at the gate there. It's fair to say I think we've got this covered from every angle.
Absolutely.
You can see the crew there. You can see the team ready to receive it. They've got their phones. They're checking their watches. And
Flags are still out for now.
flags are still out. They've done a magnificent job with those flags.
Getting a
quick photo of that moment. And shortly they will connect that aero bridge, and those first passengers will get off the flight. Now, when they do get off the flight, there's a very special treat waiting for them.
There is.
Let's quickly tell the audience about Brookie's Cookies. So this has become a viral sensation in Australia. Brookie started a bakehouse in Brisbane a year or two ago. has
TikTok.
a massive following on TikTok.
TikTok.
And there's now a store in our terminal. They sell out every day. They're exported around the world. These are going to US,
Very
Europe,
tasty.
all over the world.
Yes.
And so Brookie's actually done us a special almond one for our arriving passengers. And tomorrow there's a cowboy cookie for the first passengers
Going to Texas.
Going to Texas. So a really nice thing there. A really nice moment. You can see there the Swissport ground crew there. They've been training non-stop for the past 2 weeks, getting ready for this arrival. This is a big deal for them, and the team from AA have been here with them, training them and letting them know exactly how they want. So that's Swissport. It is one of the world's largest providers of ground services. And what they're waiting for, once this plane pulls up, they're waiting for the person who's called the crew chief. That's what AA call it. And that person, until they give the okay, and I think they're just doing that right now, they're giving the thumbs up. Until they give the okay, nothing can happen. But once they do, all those ground services can start to move into position. You can see they're putting the cones out around the engines there. And it never ceases to amaze me watching these aircraft come and go as everybody does their individual role to quickly move these aircraft in and out. And usually it's a pretty quick turnaround. Absolutely. It might only be 2 or 3 hours, but in this case, this aircraft will spend 24 hours here. So after we got off air, which will be fairly shortly because we've got some roles to do there, there will be a media welcome here at Brisbane Airport for our media and our VIPs. So there's the airport CEO from Brisbane, from DFW, there's someone from American Airlines, there's the Consul General from Sydney for the United States, and also Patricia O'Callaghan from Tourism and Events Queensland also here. And then after that, we'll be taking all those VIPs and the media out to hop on board and have a look, see what's inside, and then get a nice tarmac photo. But then throughout the day, this aircraft will be used for training so that everybody who needs to operate this aircraft ongoingly will get on board, can go through all the checks, and also we'll be bringing travel agents on board so that they can get out and have a look as well. So lots of use for this aircraft throughout the day. And then at 5 o'clock this afternoon, it will actually be the backdrop for one of our local networks to do their weather from. 10 News Queensland, Liz Cantor, the host.
Good morning to Liz.
Good morning, Liz. Liz will be out on the tarmac doing her weather live. So lots happening to this aircraft over the next 24 hours. But really training is the focus, getting everybody schooled up. And it's good that they've been able to leave the aircraft here for that 24 hours. So we get all those systems in play, and then tomorrow will be the flight that returns back. And so, yeah, a big 24 hours coming up here at Brisbane Airport with that new flight.
And I guess this morning as well, we'll get a little bit of a look at some pictures of what people can do in Texas when they hop on that flight from tomorrow. And we'll be looking at pictures from Dallas and Fort Worth. We'll also see, as some of the locations we mentioned earlier, some of the ranches that you can go to in Texas. You can head up to Route 66. There's a great town on that route called Amarillo. We went there for the show earlier this year, but this morning it is about welcoming these passengers to Brisbane.
Absolutely, and I guess it just opens up a new option for people from Brisbane. So in the past, those gateways were mainly Los Angeles.
They were.
And then we've had other gateways of San Francisco. You can get to North America through Vancouver, but Dallas is so well located in the heart of Texas, but in the heart of the United States, and also for that connectivity north, south, east and west. So this is a really big deal, and it's not just for travellers, it's a big deal for exporters. So Brisbane and the US is the #1 in and outbound export market when you look at the total number of tonnes. Last week on about Thursday, American Airlines said, right, we've got a plane going out on Tuesday, who's got some freight? And instantly there were hundreds of kilograms of Queensland beef booked on to go into the belly of this plane tomorrow. So that's chilled beef. It'll be in a storeroom very close to the airport. Within an hour of the flight tomorrow, it will be loaded on board. And out of Brisbane Airport, 50% of Australia's beef exports that depart by plane come out of Brisbane Airport. So this flight adds tons more capacity for Queensland exports to go overseas. It won't just be beef. Seafood is also a
Okay.
big export, fruit and veggies, but also high-end manufactured items. Brisbane and Dallas actually share the industries of biotechnology and manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, but we also share industries like the oil and gas industry and the renewables industry. Both Texas and Queensland very similar,
similar.
and even tourism. So the profiles of these two states very similar, but the bottom line is they'll be getting some freight off now, but tomorrow the belly of these aircraft will be filled with exports going back to the US. And what many people don't realise is that pretty well all the international freight that goes out of Brisbane Airport does not go on dedicated freighters. It goes in the belly
In the
of
belly of
passenger aircraft. And so that's why when we get one of these services, not only is there that tourism boost, but there's also that boost to business as well. And just talking about the tourists coming in, so when American Airlines announced that this flight was coming, they put an email out to all their frequent flyers in America who have billions of miles to burn and said, hey, there's this new option. Do you want to go down under? And this flight filled with lots of tourists. And we know when they get to Brisbane, they don't just stay in Brisbane. They go to the Gold Coast. They go to the Sunshine Coast.
Absolutely.
They love the Great Barrier Reef.
Yes.
So the benefits are dispersed right across the state. And that's the beauty of these arrivals. We should also talk about this terminal is the home of someone special as well. There are 20,000 employees who work on Brisbane Airport. A very special
team, eh?
one that works in the terminal. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the TV show Bluey. It's the #1 stream show in the United States. It's made in Brisbane. All its locations are in Brisbane. And actually our terminal, that Brisbane International Terminal, features in Bluey. There's an animated version of it because Bluey's mum, Chili, actually works in that building.
In that building.
In dog security. She's part of the canine team. So that's quite incredible that our airport has that connection with Bluey. And we know lots of tourists are coming to Brisbane because they want to look and see and walk through the locations where Bluey is made. And on November 7, Bluey's World opens up.
Hasn't that got a nice ring to it?
Bluey's World. Yeah. So that's an experience where you can walk through and be lost in the world of Bluey. And we know this is the only place in the world that it exists.
Yes.
People will fly here from across the world to see it. And so that's a really special thing. So Tourism and Events Queensland have actually been using Bluey in lots of markets where the TV show is popular to tag Queensland as Queensland, the home of Bluey.
The home of Bluey. And actually talking about Bluey, the name Liz Cantor that you mentioned before, who'll be doing her weather cross here this afternoon, actually featured on Bluey. Her voice, she was the weather dog. So that was a really special moment. So there'll be a piece of Bluey, I guess, here this afternoon as well through Liz.
And that's the thing about Bluey, because it is made in Brisbane and they've intentionally gone out and it's an animated series, but it's located in physical places in Brisbane that actually exist. So you can go to the park, you can go to South Bank, you can watch the show and recognise all these
Where those
landmarks.
moments are.
So there are actually people who do tours around Brisbane pointing out where all the Bluey landmarks are, and Brisbane Airport's International Terminal is one of those landmarks because Bluey's mum, Chili, works in that very building. How cool? Not sure whether she's working today.
Maybe she'll be there to greet our new passengers.
Maybe. That would be so cool. That terminal about to get a big upgrade. So across Brisbane Airport, there is $5 billion being spent upgrading Brisbane Airport. It's what we call future B&E. If you'd like to find out more, I'm sure we'll put that in the group, in the live chat, so you can find out more. But
we have Kobe watching from the Sunshine Coast. Now, the Sunshine Coast, we mentioned the Gold Coast. The Sunshine Coast is north of Brisbane. It's about an hour and a half drive. And
let's just set it up. Brisbane is paradise because
Yes.
we have the Gold Coast an hour to the south, which is
South.
paradise.
Also.
And we have the Sunshine Coast an hour to the north. So We're in the
Very
middle,
close,
right?
yes. We're right in the middle. And the Sunshine Coast, I'm probably going to be a little bit biased here. I'm a Sunny Coast girl, born and bred. That was home for a very long time. And the coast, it's got about 100 kilometres of coastline that wraps its way around. That's what the region's famous for. And we've got Noosa in the north. You would, for our viewers tuning in, have probably heard of Noosa before.
One of the world's best beaches.
Best beaches, and Caloundra down in the south. And the coast, it's not just all about the beaches. Yes, they're fabulous. We've got a great island off Mooloolaba.
You can just see there, just interrupting for
yes,
one moment,
yes.
some of that freight coming off those imports. We know there's a lot of car parts, the Teslas, would you believe, that
Yes.
are coming in through this gateway.
More runway cams, maybe.
More runway cams. We need more of those. We definitely need more
We
runway
do
cams.
need
That
more.
was so good. But yeah, you can see we've only been on the ground for about less than 10 to 15 minutes at the gate. They're already getting those containers off. They'll be getting the luggage off and getting those passengers off. And really, this is an opportunity for the crew today to refine all their procedures. So
processes,
they do it in the American Airlines way, because each ground handler has to adapt to what each airport, which airline, their procedures. But as I was saying, the international terminal where you're looking through there, security is about to undergo a major upgrade there, a major renovation of all our retail offerings. Duty free will almost double in size in that building, so a lot happening there, a lot happening in our domestic terminal as well, with a big security upgrade happening there. And also plans for a future Terminal 3 located pretty close to where we are here, and lots of planning to happen before 2032, because what's happening in 2032?
I think there's something going on, the Olympics, which was very, very exciting. And 8 years, and those 8 years, they're going to go by pretty quick.
Yeah, well, we've just had Paris. We're about to have Los Angeles 28 in 3.5 years'
Yep,
time. A big
yep.
shout out to everyone at LAX. This will be their moment in the sun.
Yes,
But as
indeed.
soon as we get through LA, we will be up to. Look, quick cutaway there. This is fascinating. That MinRes flight, they're a group of workers, fly out workers. They're taking off. Their mine site is on the other side of Australia. It's a 5-hour flight. That will land actually at a mine site, not a major
Direct
airport.
in.
And those miners will spend the week working there, and then they'll swap out with some more
Fly in, fly out.
more miners. So Brisbane Airport sees around, would you believe, 4,000 miners, fly-in, fly-out workers, fly through the airport each day, and that's one of the longest routes across to the other side of the country. In the past, they would have to go through Perth, but now it's a direct flight. Can you imagine
Yeah.
going to work, hopping on a plane, 4-hour flight, turn up at your mine site, spend a week there, come home and spend a
again,
week?
yeah.
It's actually a pretty
actually
lucrative.
quite-
yeah,
yeah.
I like the sound of
Yeah,
that.
me too. Me too, indeed.
So back to American Airlines, getting those containers off. The folks from Swissport doing a really good job there. And I guess for many of these aircraft, it is a really fast turnaround. Not this one today, because they've got 24 hours, but it is a well-oiled machine to get all the freight and cargo off and get the aircraft serviced, fueled. Look at this, great shots. You don't normally get this level of airport access on a live stream, so we're so happy you could join us. If you're liking our show, hit the like button and also subscribe, because Brisbane Airport only streams on really special occasions, and this is one of them. But we actually have 2 resident live streamers who stream here week in, week out. So there's 2 channels.
I
Julia
think they've got a
Flights.
pretty good gig
Yeah.
as well.
So Julia Flights is one of them, and Only Planes Network is the other. We might put those links in the group chat, so you will find them streaming here most weekends from about 6 in the morning to 6 at night. And Brisbane Airport actually offers a fairly unique fleet of aircraft that you won't find elsewhere in the world. So Brisbane Airport is home to the largest fleet of Fokker aircraft, as airlines around the world have removed them from the fleet. Alliance Airlines in Brisbane has been buying them up and operates dozens, up to about 80 of those Fokkers out of Brisbane. And so we actually get people tuning into the live streams and coming to Brisbane just to see those Fokker aircraft, and we'll get one of those on screen shortly. But the other thing is, we get everything from the A380 here all the way down to smaller aircraft because we're servicing lots of those regional and remote towns. So it's the diversity of aircraft that I know lots of people tune into both Julia Flights and Only Planes Network on a weekly basis because they're getting a taste of such a broad range of... Yeah, so there's, for example, that's a freighter, a very small freighter, GAM Airlines, and it services... let's quickly check where it came from, but it services lots of the smaller towns and cities around Queensland. Just having a look there. It's come in from Thangool. I bet you can't give me a top three things to do in Thangool.
No, I can't for Thangool, but maybe those on that light aircraft can.
So yeah, it's really the diversity of aircraft that people really do tune in and enjoy because Brisbane just does have that mass diversity of aircraft. And this story blew me away. I came up here yesterday to where our live hosting position is to set up, and Julia Flights was live streaming. There was a gentleman there who had flown in from the United States to spend 3 days standing where we are, stayed at the hotel next door, didn't see another centimetre of Brisbane, spent 3 days standing here watching our live streamers, watching our aircraft, and he's on his way back to the US this morning.
Okay.
So a day on a plane, 3 hours standing here watching this view, soaking up what Brisbane Airport has to offer, and then flying back to the US. That's astounding.
Yeah, it is,
Don't you
actually.
think?
Yeah, so no Bluey, no Story Bridge.
He hasn't seen a bit of the city, but he spent 3 days here observing all that Brisbane Airport has to offer. So we know there are lots of people who watch those streams, and we're grateful for both of those streamers because people are getting to know the diversity of aircraft that they can see right around Brisbane Airport. It is, as we said, the third busiest airport in Australia by passenger numbers. Something that's really interesting is that in the past you would see major airlines from overseas, they'd go to Sydney and Melbourne first, the biggest cities, and then maybe they'd come to Brisbane as the third biggest destination. But we're seeing airlines like American Airlines come to Brisbane as their second destination in the city. So that's significant. We're about to watch, this is the flight to Sydney. Now this is quite nice because our runway cam, we've got a little bit more light out there. They're heading out there and they can actually track along on the taxiways and the service roads that our airside safety vehicles move around. So these are roads that are only being used by their vehicles, and they do have an airside safety escort. So we'll get to see a little bit of action from out beside the runway. If you are enjoying our stream, hit like. We actually are going to have to get off fairly soon because we've got to kickstart all the media.
Welcome.
Yeah, we've got lots of Australia's media here. But look, have a look at the shot of the Tesla. It's done an extraordinary job. If you zoom out slightly, you'll see it's in company with our...
And here we are.
There we are. There's our freighter coming through. But look at those pictures. Let's just enjoy that for a moment. Tracking alongside that Qantas flight. They're the Qantas hangars in the background. Lots of deep maintenance happening in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Lots of engineering jobs here in Brisbane. And we are tracking along with that aircraft. Now, it's going to beat us. The Tesla's fast. It's not that
Not
fast.
quite that fast.
But have a look at that. That is a spectacular shot. More hangars on the other side there.
Headed for Sydney this morning.
Give us your top three things to do in Sydney in 30 seconds.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, Sydney, you can't miss the harbour bridge as you fly in. It's a very spectacular... And I really enjoy climbing bridges. And I've got to say, I've done that bridge climb before. And it was right on sunset. And I don't know, you can't really get much more iconic than that. So absolutely there. Obviously, you can't miss Bondi Beach. That's a very special location that, again, presents very iconic Australian scenes and great restaurants and food. I'd say one of my favourite suburbs there is a place called Surrey Hills. And I've got family in that suburb, so good morning to them this morning if they're tuning in.
And I guess the delight of Sydney is the harbour. So Brisbane has the
Yes.
river running through it. We're called the River City. But have a look at that. Another one of our 100% electric vehicles. A big shout out to Greg Burke, who's in that one of those cars. Greg has transitioned our fleet across the airport from regular vehicles, diesel vehicles, petrol-driven vehicles, into electric vehicles in a really short space of time. He's done an excellent job. And not only that, he's happy to get up and come out and help us share that runway. You can actually see crew getting off there.
There we go.
Nice shot of the crew. As we said, 2 sets of crew coming in on that first flight. And that's just because of this unusual setup of this 24-hour layover. And also media activities. The crew will take part in our media. We'll get to meet them soon. We'll get a photo with them out on the tarmac.
And I wonder who we got the confirmation from of that very specific time that was coming in. Probably one of those crew we've seen walk past right now.
So those crew heading in. And look, this is exciting for them. We know when there's an aircraft, new airline launch, that there is intense competition to be the crew on that very first flight. No, really, honestly, it's an honour.
Of course.
You get to, and different airlines decide that in different ways.
How do they?
Well, look, some it's merit-based, some they might run a competition, some they might put a call out. Some they will look to see if someone's got a story connected to that airport. So, but we know, it's a great honour to be in that inaugural flight. You have to be prepared to do a lot of photos because we're going to have photographers, we're going to have
all day.
TV cameras there. So it is a great honour for any crew to be that inaugural flight because they're part of history. Just have a look at our international terminal there, guys. Absolutely outstanding job with the city in the background.
Yeah, skyline there.
Absolutely beautiful, really beautiful. So yeah, a big shout out to the crew of AA, American Airlines, who've arrived, and to any crew over in the US who happen to be watching this live stream today. And look, they might be tuning in to say, what's this Brisbane all about?
Yes.
What can we expect?
Tell us about Brisbane.
And,
well, can we? Can we
yes.
go back to, so Brisbane, I was in the middle of promoting my hometown of the Sunshine Coast earlier. So that, just for those tuning in now, we've got Brisbane right here in the centre. We've got the Gold Coast about an hour or so south, and then the Sunshine Coast just in the north. So fantastic, world famous beaches.
You can't beat the beaches.
No.
If you're coming to Australia, and if you're coming to Queensland, Queensland is famous for its beaches.
Yes. Get
it's
in the water.
Yeah. And what else are we famous for? You'd have to say the Great Barrier Reef.
The Great Barrier Reef, indeed. Yep. You need a mask and some fins. I'm trying to think that'll get you through the
goggles.
Yes. You can
snorkeling.
snorkel if you get certified with snorkeling, with diving here. Snorkeling, of course, is it's a great place to pick that up.
But we know that the Great Barrier Reef really is a bucket item for so many Americans coming. So we expect that to be very popular. Some of these passengers will transit from this aircraft over to the domestic terminal, and they might take a flight up into some of those gateway areas to get to the Great Barrier Reef.
So obviously Cairns is one of them, but just recently I spent some time on this amazing island, Lady Elliot Island, and it's in the southern Great Barrier Reef. We were swimming with turtles. There's mantas there, and you can only land there. You can't. There's no boat option. You have to fly in. So that's another.
Where do you
great
fly
way.
out of?
You can fly out of Redcliffe. We flew out of Bundaberg. A couple of just short flights there. So, but coming into Brisbane, of course, is a way that you can get there. So, Lady Elliot Island, spectacular from above, beautiful in the water. I really didn't want to leave, to be honest.
We've just had I've just started looking at my phone because I've been ignoring it. Can you ask Sammy where she gets her hair done? The colour is perfect.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm actually due to get that done next week at the Main Society in Kelvin Grove. So I was up and got that one ready for this morning. So thank you very much. That's a lovely compliment. I am booked in next week ahead of a busy Christmas of lots of events. So I may be back here
Yeah.
seeing some.
And let me just tell you that Sammy does. She's quite an incredible person on TV because you do so many different roles. So you're a travel producer, you're a travel reporter.
First and foremost, yes.
You're also a news journo,
I am indeed, yes.
and you've also started doing the lotto here in Brisbane as well.
Yes, here in Brisbane as well. Yes, it's everything. It's busy, but that's the way I like it,
Cool.
right? It's
And today you've added an aviation live stream to.
Can I have that title now?
You can. If you'll come back.
Yes.
Next time
Any
we have.
day.
Yeah. And the person who asked is very happy with that recommendation for the hairdressers. So you
Fabulous.
might have a referral there for
Yes.
Stacey. It's for Stacey.
Okay,
So
for Stacey, and it's Brooke there that does my hair. And that's actually quite similar. The name is quite similar to Brookie Cookies.
yeah. Now we made a promise that we wouldn't open the Brookie Cookie until the
No.
aircraft arrives. So you can get into that while I
Okay.
keep talking. But as we said, Brookie's Cookies opening only about 6 weeks ago in our domestic terminal.
Yes.
I was there covering the opening. There are queues. Look, let's be honest. Normally, queues at an airport aren't a good story because we don't want queues. We want things running nice and smooth. We had queues right down the terminal. Dozens and dozens of people lining up to get these cookies. And I would ask them and say, where did you hear about them? And they'd all say on TikTok. Now, what's really cool, these are a one-off that Brookie have created for this flight. So there is a special stamp on there. And look, this is a bit old school, but I'm just going to go and have a look in the camera and see,
Get
and see if we
nice
can
and
see.
close.
Okay, so you can see there it says, welcome to B&E, arrived on the 28th of October 2024. And that's the cookies that all the people on this arriving flight will receive. And then tomorrow, there is the Brookie's cookies for the outbound flight. That is a cowboy cookie. I'm told it's got lots of choc chips in it.
Fabulous.
And that will be handed out. And it's also got the 29th of October 2024. So look, they are two very uniquely tasting Brisbane. Which one are we going to try, by the way?
Ooh.
And a shout out to Brooke, who is the founder of Brookie's Bakehouse. She actually, I've got to tell you this story. The day she spent 4 weeks building the shop inside our terminal, and I was going to meet her on opening day at 6 a.m.
Yes.
for the media to
Yes.
come. And I've arrived there, and there's no Brooke.
She wasn't there.
How can the founder of a shop
Not
be there? And so I've texted her and said, where are you? And she was in labour in a Brisbane hospital, and she didn't make
baby Brookie was born.
at that same moment.
Yes.
And so tomorrow she's actually coming to the store to her cookbook is launched this
It
week.
has, yes.
And she'll be coming to sign it and to go off and do a national book tour. So really,
With baby Brookie, maybe.
maybe you have to be. But really, this is an international sensation, and she's just announced she will do a pop-up store for 3 weeks at an international destination in December.
Okay.
They haven't said where that will be.
Maybe Dallas Fort
It could be Dallas. It could be. From Brisbane Airport, you can get to 32 international destinations non-stop. Pre-COVID, we were at 33. So we're almost there, which is so exciting. And look, today we've been celebrating the arrival of American Airlines. Tonight, Qantas launches direct flights to Manila.
Okay.
So that's happening. And we should actually mention there are quite a number of airline launches coming up over the next couple of weeks that will keep us busy. So as we mentioned, American Airlines today, tonight, Qantas launches 4 return services per week to Manila. They'll operate an Airbus A330. So it's a big day for our aviation team. They're helping with this American Airlines flight launch. And then tonight we'll flip over and we'll help launch that Qantas service to Manila. Then in December, Delta Airlines begins flying to Los Angeles. December 13, another big day, Jetstar, which we've talked about this morning, will launch direct flights between Brisbane and Thailand's capital, Bangkok. They'll be using a 787 Dreamliner with 3 services per week, bringing around 100,000 people to and from Brisbane each year. with an 8-hour travel time. So we know that's a really popular destination.
And I'd like to mention that destination this morning because my parents are there on a holiday.
Right now?
Right now. I dropped them off at Brisbane Airport pretty much this time last Monday. And I haven't been to Thailand before, but from all reports, they are having a great time. So good morning to them. Wherever or whatever they're doing this morning, it's probably there might be a couple of hours behind here, but there have been temples and waterfalls, and I'm getting lots of photos. So I can't give you my top 3 on there this morning, but
after they come home, you will be.
Yes.
And just continuing our list of new flights, December 14, then Qantas will resume flights to Noumea after they were temporarily suspended in April. They'll be increasing from 1 up to 2 per week with an Embraer E190 aircraft. We have quite a lot of Embraers here at the airport, and that'll be the first time they bring the Embraers to that. Now, just to show you, there's the Tesla vehicle, and that was the view. There's the view that you're seeing from that camera, that remarkable camera. And thank you to the teams in those two cars who are bringing us those live pictures. And certainly, we would do that again. Guys, if we're doing another one of these live streams, you'd have to factor that Tesla. The runway cam has been the star of the show, really bringing us beautiful up-close pictures. And I guess it's because it's moving, right? In TV, it's all about trying to get that dynamic moving shot and
show the different angles.
Yeah, and you're seeing the foreground move. So if you like that camera, guys, give us a big like on there, give us a share, and drop any questions you have in the comment sections as well. We're up to 443 likes. It would be good to get to double that before we go off air. Okay. So folks, if you're watching anywhere, hit that like button, and that will encourage us to come back and do another stream like this when we have another big event, because really this is just a great way of showcasing Brisbane Airport. You can see there are also the catering trucks, Gate Gourmet getting in there. All around the airport, a large number of catering companies providing work for lots of people. As we mentioned, 20,000 people come to work around the Brisbane Airport precinct every day. Outside the CBD, this is the third biggest jobs hub. It's a jobs hub for so many people in so many roles. As another Qantas flight touches down there on the new runway. We'll check where that's from. But 20,000 people coming to work each day. We think by the time we get to the 2032 Olympics, there'll be another 10,000 workers here. So that's 30,000 people coming to work each day here at Brisbane Airport as we watch the Qantas service from Tokyo Narita touchdown. You can see the plane spotters there in the foreground as this A330 rolls on through. I was fortunate enough to go to Tokyo for the Olympic Games in 2021.
Absolutely.
That was at the height of COVID, where no one was allowed to travel outside Australia other than the athletes and the officials. I flew on a plane to Tokyo with 12 people, so there were 12 crew and 12 media, and your partner Jed was one of them.
Yes. One of the camera operators.
Yes, Sammy's partner is a camera operator. And we went, we took a team, I led a team over to Tokyo, and we covered the Olympic Games, which were amazing, but it was just so... I guess the fact that the Japanese people didn't get to go to the games because they paid for the games, they designed the games, but when they got to them, because of COVID, that was the height of COVID, there were no fans in the stadium. No. So that was a real honour to be one of the few people. I went to the closing ceremony of the Olympics in Tokyo, but the Japanese people weren't able to. Quite startling. But now, this is the amazing thing. Tokyo, Japan has rocketed to be one of the top destinations for Queenslanders. I don't know about your Instagram feed, but every day I'm on there are friends in Tokyo. My son last night booked a trip to Osaka. So there are so many people going to Tokyo. It really has, and part of that is the dollar, right? The yen, the value of the yen. Aussies can get really good value out of Japan right now, and with Jetstar offering those low-cost fares to Tokyo and Osaka, you can have a great value holiday there. Where I know when our family went a decade ago, the yen was really expensive. As we see a Virgin roll off there, our runway cam giving it a chase, and it's never going to win that battle,
No.
but it's
It can
fun
try,
trying. And then after that, stay with the Virgin flight for the takeoff, and then we'll see some of the activity around the airport.
What does he say, Monday mornings?
This is rush hour. So if you go to the domestic terminal between 5 a.m. and 6:30 a.m., you would think the entire world is there. But then pretty quickly it clears up, and that's because there are 4,000 people in this coming hour heading out. Now, we mentioned earlier the Fokkers that are based at Brisbane Airport, and that's because these were in airline fleets right across the world, and a lot of them have stepped out. They've sold those fleets, and Alliance, which is a airline based here at the airport, have been buying them up and bringing them into their fleet. They do a magnificent job of bringing them in and renewing those aircraft. They have in hangars here at Brisbane Airport and in central Queensland up in Rockhampton, and they operate charter flights to mining sites, but they also operate a large number of flights for both Virgin and Qantas, and some of those aircraft are rebadged as in the Qantas livery, but you will see Fokkers all across our airport. Now, one of the things that makes them really good for that fly-in, fly-out operation, you'll see the engines are mounted very high on the back of the aircraft.
That shot straight down.
Some of those airports that these are flying into, when we talk about the mine sites, they're actually gravel, they're dirt strips. So if you were to take an aircraft with a low mounted engine on the wing, it would quite likely suck up dirt and dust and rocks and things like that, where the Fokkers are actually really resilient aircraft. They've got those high mounted engines, they're not going to suck up any rocks and debris, so that's why you will still see Fokkers getting around Brisbane Airport for quite a number of years to come, because they're really fulfilling a niche role in connecting regional Queensland and some of more of those remote communities. So we know we have lots of Fokker fans around the country, but I also need to say we have one very special Fokker here at Brisbane Airport. That almost sounds rude. It's the first flight that made the trip across the Pacific. So go back nearly 100 years ago, and that first flight by Charles Kingsford Smith, Sir Charles Kingsford Smith,
Yep.
from San Francisco to Brisbane.
Okay.
That was the first crossing of the Pacific by an aircraft. Today we've seen we've seen it done today in 16 hours.
Yes.
Back then it took 3 days of island hopping to get here. And guys, if you look across at the Alliance hangar, you'll actually see the Southern Cross livery over there. We'll get a shot of that in a moment. So Alliance have actually painted out an aircraft in honour of that first flight across the Pacific by the Southern Cross. This is the bit that blew me away. You know how we had someone on a plane watching this live stream with Wi-Fi?
Yes.
That first flight across the Pacific, they navigated by the stars. Can you imagine taking off from the United States and going, right, we know Hawaii is out there somewhere, but we're going to navigate by the stars. And if we miss it by just a degree, we're stuffed, we're screwed,
Yeah.
we're in the ocean.
Okay.
And so that aircraft over there with the yellow livery, that's a very special Sir Kingsford Smith Southern Cross livery. Next year, the Southern Cross celebrates 100. That airplane is here at our terminal, opposite the international terminal. It's a 100-year-old aircraft made by the Fokker Company 100 years ago. It had an amazing history even before Sir Charles Kingsford Smith. It was operating in the polar regions. It had a crash, they rebuilt it, and then Sir Charles Kingsford Smith was gifted it by a wealthy American to do that flight. I've actually met some of the family of that benefactor who's come out here, and they'll be back here again next year because that aircraft, the Southern Cross, will celebrate 100 years. It's in a special chamber. You can go up to the glass and look at it, but it's all temperature controlled, it's humidity controlled, so that we want to see that Southern Cross for another 100 years at Brisbane Airport. And can I just say, it should be a major attraction. So many people in Queensland don't know about it. So many international tourists arrive and drive straight past it. But if you are coming to Brisbane, take 10 minutes, come to the airport early and check out the Southern Cross. It's a 100-year-old aircraft. So it turns 100 next year.
Yeah,
We
another
turn
100-year
100.
birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
another letter maybe.
yeah, another from the king. But really a special part of history. And just to orientate you, we're looking at that Alliance aircraft, another one of those Fokkers. Behind it is the Gateway Bridge. That's our closest arterial bridge over the Brisbane River. The Brisbane River passes straight by Brisbane Airport, and we're getting into the morning commute in Brisbane. It is 5:50 local time on a Monday morning. There's actually 2 bridges side by side, twin bridges. Would you believe they close one of those bridges once a year and have a magnificent run across the bridge?
Yes, they do.
And let's check that weather radar. That's the first time we've checked that. There is actually a little bit of weather around, folks. The forecast was for 10 millimetres of rain, but you can see there is actually a band off the coast, a fairly solid band of storm activity there. A big shout out to Tony Auden, the weatherman from 7 News. I'm sure he'll give me a text if we
He will
need to know.
indeed,
And of
yes.
course, we'll have
Liz.
Channel 10, Liz Cantle's weather live from the airport from the American Airlines flight this afternoon. But a bit of weather moving through. We didn't get that spectacular sunrise, but still a very nice morning
That's okay.
nonetheless.
Yes, indeed.
We'll keep an eye on that weather because we've got a lot of expensive electronic equipment all around the airport that we don't want to get wet.
Yes. We are undercover though,
Yeah.
which will help a little bit.
But there are receivers and transmitters all around the place. We actually set it all up yesterday. We did a big test.
We did.
And we went home at 10 o'clock last night, had a security guard sleep here to make sure it was all good so we could come back at 3
I have a
o'clock this
feeling
morning.
you might have been here as
No,
well.
I was not here. I was not here. I was home watching Flight Radar,
Yes.
hitting refresh.
I was too.
Because the last thing we wanted to do was miss this
No,
flight.
exactly.
We didn't miss the
No,
flight.
we didn't.
We
We
gave
were
the
here.
world a front row seat, which is what we wanted to do. And if you're enjoying this front row seat of Brisbane Airport, hit that like button.
Hit the like button.
And we really want to say thank you to everyone who has tuned in today and shared the morning with us. And whether you're in North America, whether you're at Dallas, whether you're part of the airline industry or just a traveller, as we see this Fokker on the runway right now, I'll check out where that's going. But really, it is a special day. And it is heading to Moranbah. So,
Oh, yes.
Moranbah is a tiny town. We'll check the population for it, but I'm talking a really small town, but it has a large number of flights. So on this
Yes.
on this aircraft right now, a lot of high-vis vests. It would be yellow and orange right down the corridor. And
Big
they-
fly-in, fly-out
yeah,
community.
so
Yep.
they're heading there for work. This is their start of their work commute. Not much traffic for them, which is nice, but they'll be there in not too long. Tell me about Moranbah. What's to do in Moranbah?
Okay, so Moranbah. Now, I was brushing up on this. I have visited before. It was for the travel shows a couple of years ago, and it's actually, I believe it's one of Queensland's youngest towns.
But it's only got a population of 9,000
Yes.
people. For a population of 9,000 people, it has dozens of
Yes.
flights a week, and that's because
Coming in
it's
and
a
out.
gateway for the mining activity that's
Yes.
happening in that region.
And it's at the heart of the coral country. It's in the Isaac region. So think there's hikes over ancient volcanic peaks. It's marvellous if you head out to the coast. Marvellous four-wheel driving right along the beach as well. I do remember climbing one of those mountains a few years ago. It was with a photographer, Mark Fitz, from up sort of near that area, and we captured the most beautiful sunset. It was one of those memorable moments. So I have been there. There's a lot of places. I have been.
So it's one of those towns, for a town of 9,000 people, it has more than its share of flights as people head off to go to work, and that's quite a unique role. For, as we said, 4,000 people flying into those mine sites. Those mine sites wouldn't operate without those workers, and this morning this is rush hour as they head off to those sites all around the state. So many unique flights coming in and out of Brisbane. One of our airside safety vehicles, they spend a lot of time basically driving the runways and the taxiways, looking out to make sure there's no debris on the runway. So they're looking what they call for FOD, which is foreign objects or debris. So they're checking the runway for that. But they're also checking that the lighting systems are working, that The runway markings are clearing. They will do at first light a run up and down the runway. They literally will do that in between aircraft arrivals. So they'll call up the tower and say, we need to do an inspection. Tower clears them onto the runway and they'll drive up and down the runway. And look, they're looking for any defects in the bitumen, in the concrete. And if they find something, they immediately log it so it can be dealt with straight away.
All about safety.
Yeah, look, Batic Air.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. But really, the runway operations team, the safety team, really playing a really vital role in ensuring the airport is safe. As we look at Batic Air from Denpasar. Denpasar is a huge destination for Aussies heading to Bali, right?
Oh, indeed it is. Absolutely.
A really popular destination because it's cheap travel, right?
Yes.
And it's not far away. That flight, 5 hours for that flight there. And just back to our airside operations team that we were seeing before, I heard our head of human resources telling a fascinating story the other day. So go back 10 years, all the airside ops people were blokes. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there wasn't any diversity in that team. And when we opened up the new runway 4 or 5 years ago, they had to bring on a whole lot of new people. So it was an opportunity to try and get some women into the team. They'd run an advertisement and they'd get no interest. And they looked at the advertisements. Look at that, we've got a little friend here. He's just popped in. It's a butcher bird. I'm told by both Julia Flights and Only Planes Network. He sings as well, sometimes.
Okay.
So if that happens, we'll pause.
Oh.
There's our plane spotters out there. How good getting a front row seat. So
Giving
many
us a
young people, a
wave.
big wave. That is so good.
Big wave.
We ran a competition. There were 400 entries from people to come out early on a Monday morning on a working day.
And how did they get picked?
It was completely random.
Okay.
Yep. They've bought their deck chairs. They've bought their
bit of
breakfast. So good. They have some really impressive cameras. And this morning, Portia from our community team, along with our airside security team, helped get them out there this morning. A big wave to that team. I don't know whether they're watching. Maybe they are. If they are, a big hello. We'll give them a wave. They're actually Sammy, they're just out over here, over your shoulder, on that area there.
I see, yes.
And that was actually the construction viewing platform when they built that runway. It's where they were able to observe all the construction. And this year, this is the third time we've been able to take people out there. We did it a couple of months ago. There was some runway works happening over on our legacy runway, and we took the plane spotting community out there, and I was there both of those days, and what a fun morning it was. And there are kids there who are wanting to be pilots, and there are whole families, aviation families who, dad was a
Through
pilot.
the generations.
Yeah, third
Absolutely.
generation pilots.
I wonder what they think of
And the other thing is, there are a number of schools in Brisbane that are aviation gateway schools. So if you want to work in the aviation industry, you might want to be a pilot, you might want to be cabin crew, you can go to those high schools and they have gateway paths to get into jobs in aviation. And we know our airline partners love those students because they obviously have a passion for aviation. They come and do programs here at the airport, and when they've finished Year 12, they get gobbled up if they're ready for a job, or they might head off to Griffith University, which has aviation studies, really popular, or they might go into an academy and go to a flight school, and they could do their training at Toowoomba, which is about 120k away, where Qantas does a lot of training. So those aviation high schools, really popular. So I dare say there'd be some families there with kids in those gateway programs. We work really closely with them and really try and foster that. That is Gav from Julia Flights there on top of that car there. Look, I dare say if you go on Facebook in Brisbane later today, there'll be 20 families and 20 people posting photos of the American Airlines flight this morning, because they really would have got a front row seat out there this morning. They're taking a picture of the Tesla. There'll also be pictures of the Tesla.
Inception there. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A really cool moment. sharing that. And we know people want to understand aviation and understand the story behind it and understand why things are the way they are. And it is a complex industry, and so to be able to give people literally a front row seat is something we really enjoy. Look at the tail on that aircraft. Quite a nice aircraft.
Those colours.
Have you been to Malaysia?
No, I have not.
We
Have
went.
you?
Yeah, we went there. We had a stopover on the way to Vietnam. We went via Malaysia and had a couple of days there. Vietnam is another really popular destination. Vietjet arrived at Brisbane Airport only last year, and lots of Aussies choosing to explore that. Guys, it is actually now raining, so not where we are, but you look at the tarmac down there at the international terminal, you can see it is raining there. Thanks for bringing up the radar. A big shout out to Paul Slater, who is our director this morning. He's just been laying out the shots for us, and he's in the ears of all our cameramen, calling the shots. And the great thing about a good director is they're always a step ahead of you, you know? So you look up and they give you a shot and they take your conversation somewhere. So, you know, he's the one in charge. We're just following his lead.
Following his lead.
Yeah, so thanks, Paul
Very
Slater.
safe hands, you.
He's also provided the link gear, which is on the Tesla, to bring our pictures back here live. And they've held up pretty good this morning. Yeah, there's not been many splats. No, we're really happy with that. So, but there's a shot of the tower with that weather coming in behind. When Paul isn't directing live streams for us, he might be doing a bit of football, he might be doing a bit of cricket, probably directing the Ashes. So that's why he was hot on the radar, because he knows that means the covers would have to come out, where today we can keep going.
We are undercover.
Yeah.
Not everyone is.
Not everyone is, but yeah, a bit of weather coming through. Guys, give us a like. We're going to stay on just for another few minutes, and then it's just gone 6 a.m. local time. We actually need to go and get ready to welcome media. We know local networks, Channel 7's coming, Channel 9, Channel 10's coming, plus lots of online and other publications. They are here for today's media event coming up. We'll take them for a tour out to the aircraft. So if you watch those news services in Brisbane tonight, you'll see some of the pictures which you've actually seen over the past hour or so.
Yeah, from this morning. So
this is a nice little aircraft on camera one there. So one thing I do like about Alliance Aircraft is they actually do bespoke liveries, and they love doing special ones. We talked about their Kingsford Smith one before. This one is for breast cancer, so there's always lots of photos posted. You can see they're supporting Australians affected by breast cancer, and the website bcna.org.au. What a great initiative for an airline to wrap its aircraft in that movement. And of course, that's flying around 365 days a year, but it gets quite a special. It is really quite
It's one of my favourite colours as well.
Yes.
Everyone knows
pink.
I love pink.
Yeah. Actually, I got to tell you, one of the most viral videos that our team has made, and a shout out to Kayla and Sam. You remember when the Barbie movie came out and it was going nuts?
How could I forget?
So Sam and Kayla went and got a little family of Barbies and Kens, and they went to this aircraft and they filmed it with the pink aircraft.
How fabulous.
And they cut it in a day. They had the Barbie mobile and lots of other things, and it went nuts online. And they filmed it. And so anytime we need a plane, you can call up Alliance Airlines, and they're really, because they're based here locally, they'll give you an instant yes. And,
absolutely.
And really cool. So that aircraft just crossing behind us, heading out to the new parallel runway. It's behind a Jetstar flight, and pretty soon it'll come past the plane spotting area over there. But yeah, really a nice work by Alliance Airlines to wrap that plane in the pink and to give a great cause some really high profile in the skies over Queensland and wherever that aircraft flies.
Yeah. Maybe it's something about the colour pink, because I look back at our Brookie cookies.
There's a bit of a pink theme going.
There is a bit of a pink theme.
Absolutely.
So Brookie cookies, just a reminder that our passengers this morning hopping off today's American Airlines flight will get a Brookie cookie when they arrive. And I'm wondering at what status are we at with that? Are they off the plane?
Yeah, I'd say they're well and truly off the plane. How cool is that? We are
We've just been
tracking
chatting.
parallel with that aircraft. The Tesla doing a fantastic job. Keen to see how many kilometres it logs throughout this morning. Brisbane Airport is actually a really large precinct. It takes a long time to drive right around the perimeter. Just beyond this aircraft is a 285 hectare biodiversity zone, so that's set aside just for wildlife. And because we're on Moreton Bay, we actually have a huge shoreline there, and there are birds that roost and nest and feed there that fly in from across the world and spend their winter here before heading back home. But look at that shot, fantastic shot of that Alliance special wrapped aircraft standing by. I'm keen to see where it is heading off to. I'm sure someone in the group chat will beat me there, but no, it is flying to Gladstone. What's the top 3 things to do in Gladstone,
Yes,
Sammy?
well, Gladstone, it's in the Southern Great Barrier Reef, so you've got Gladstone. I do actually remember going there a couple of years ago for that famous yacht race, the Brisbane to Gladstone, and covered that for one of our local travel shows. It's always covered by local media as well. It was a great celebration a couple of years ago over Easter. And then we went across to Heron Island, which is another great island in the area, right on the reef there. You can walk straight off the jetty, you can scuba, snorkel, see all the marine life. And what I was going to touch on earlier about the Great Barrier Reef is, for any viewers tuning in, Finding Nemo put the Great Barrier Reef, I would say, not on the, it was already on the map, but it brought a new, I guess, audience to want to come here and experience that. So the Great Barrier Reef is massive, but yes, Gladstone is in the southern end of it.
And we can see there that Jetstar flight heading off to Cairns. That's in the north of the state. And look, very popular with tourists as well. Hey, Sammy.
Oh, indeed, absolutely.
Now, we're looking there at that flight to Gladstone. You can see the high-intensity lighting system that pokes out into Moreton Bay there. I can tell you that standing on that as planes come over is one of the most spectacular spots in Brisbane on Brisbane Airport's campus. And you can see there the waters of Moreton Bay, and that shoreline up in the top there is actually Redcliffe, the Redcliffe Peninsula, which is accessed by the Hornybrook Highway just 30 minutes up the road from Brisbane Airport. Our lens makes it look very close, but it's actually quite a distance behind. You can see there the Tesla setting up to try and capture this runway takeoff here. Folks, we are going to wrap up really shortly, so if you have enjoyed this live front row seat of Brisbane Airport for the arrival of American Airlines, give it a big like. We'd love to know that you were here, and please subscribe so that next time we dust off the Tesla, you can tune in and we can share some more stories, because really that's what today's about.
Oh, it's all about.
Have a look at those shots. That tracking shot, I've just got to say, from 30 years working in broadcast television, doing live big events, you cannot beat that shot. That is simply stunning. Look at that. Look at the chase vehicle going on there. Let's cut back to the Tesla. Look at that.
Bit of a race there.
Fantastic. And heading off to Gladstone, the Fokker 70. And actually just got a text from the Sunrise producer saying thank you. So I think that means they must have taken our live pictures during their broadcast and sharing that with the entire nation. There we go. Look at that shot. Fantastic shot, guys. Really impressive. And so we're going to call it. We have one big heavy coming in shortly, and that'll be the flight, the A380 from Emirates. So that sounds like, if you'd like us to stay on for that Emirates landing the A380, give us a like right now, and we'll use that pretty well as the cutoff. So to all our teams in the field, I know you have other operations you need to get to. That flight landing in 12 minutes. So Sammy, we've got 12 minutes left with the people of the world.
Fabulous.
To share about what a great place Queensland is and why they should come to Queensland for a visit.
Okie dokie, we can do that. So Queensland, well, where should we start? We've covered Brisbane. We can talk about Brisbane again, of course, for those who are just tuning in.
So Brisbane is the capital, so forms a very serious role because it is the capital of the state. It's where our parliament is located.
We're known as the River City.
Yes, we had an election here in Brisbane on the weekend, so this week, there'll be a new government and that'll be sworn in and they'll meet in Parliament. So Brisbane has that role as being Parliament. It also has some really large hospitals that serve the entire state of Queensland. And this is a bizarre fact you won't know. 3,500 patients are flown into Brisbane every year through the Royal Flying Doctor Service, which is based literally behind us there. The Royal Flying Doctor Service. They operate a fleet of 81 aircraft throughout Australia. And I guess if you're in a part of the world where there's a hospital down the road and there's a city on your doorstep, it might be hard to fathom. But there are a large number of Australians who live on properties, farms.
Yes.
And the nearest town, and when I say town, it might be one pub and a post office, could be 4, 5, 6 hours away.
Absolutely.
So if you're on that farm and you have an accident, there's no ambulance that can get there quickly for you. So you pick up the phone and you're connected. Ultimately, a Royal Flying Doctor aircraft is dispatched to you. They operate a fleet of lots of aircraft, including King Airs. Their pilots do an amazing job of landing on farms. So if you live in the bush and you're a cattle station, every farm has to maintain their runway. They have standby lighting in case something happens at night and you need emergency care. And so the Royal Flying Doctor Service, look them up, they do an incredible job. So they're bringing patients into Brisbane. Life Flight, which is a helicopter-based and jet-based system, are also bringing patients into Brisbane Airport. And so what we're about to do in that area out there, in that green area behind us, we're about to build an aeromedical precinct. And at the moment, all those aeromedical agencies are spread across the airport. They're kilometres apart. We're going to bring them all together. They'll be in one base. And at the heart of it, there'll be like an ICU, like there'll be so that instead of patients transferring between ambulance and aircraft on the tarmac and sometimes waiting, they might be waiting for an ambulance to arrive, or they might be waiting for a plane to arrive. Instead, they'll be transferred into a clinical setting where they can receive care, they can be moved out to the airport well ahead of their flight, stabilised, and then moved. So this is on a scale not seen anywhere in the world. Construction is due to start. We did the sod turning out there only a couple of weeks ago. It's a huge project backed by the Queensland government because Queensland is such a remote state.
It is.
That you need access to that medical care, and Brisbane Airport plays a critical role in that new aeromedical centre in providing that care.
So talking about some of those towns, one that comes to mind for me is Birdsville. And Birdsville, I did say earlier, Longreach is one of my favourite towns, but it sort of battles a bit there with Birdsville. Birdsville is this tiny, tiny town. It's about population, last I checked, about 100 people. And I've been lucky to visit there in that time and see how remote it is. You'll drive for hours on end and kind of not really see anyone else on the road. And there's something special about that. But I've also been really lucky to go back and visit when the town swells to thousands for the Birdsville races. And that is a really iconic event on the Queensland calendar. I think their record was for the largest nutbush.
Yeah, and they've done records in each year.
They've done records each year, yes.
We're just watching their flight QF505. It's a Qantas flight 737 off to Sydney. Sydney being the biggest city in Australia, we have so many flights travelling between Brisbane and Sydney each day, and this will be people getting off on their working week, going down there as well. So we are, as I mentioned, tracking for our final aircraft to come into landing. It is actually Emirates. It's just coming over Stradbroke Island. We should mention Stradbroke Island. What another piece of paradise on our doorstep.
Yeah, Stradbroke Island, we for a lot of us who grew up in the area, we call it Stratty, and I spent a lot of time there growing up. I was really fortunate to have some family friends who actually had a home there on the island, so we went quite often.
Quick shout out, just another airline there, National Jet Express, operating lots of services again to some of those regional towns, and also mining flights, a big fly-in fly-out mining workforce there. Sorry, and that one is actually heading to Moranbah. So there you go, a town of 9,000. 2 flights to Moranbah in the last 5 minutes.
Wonder if they're going to go do that hike.
So they're
Off to
not.
work.
They're off to work. Yeah, but back to
Yes, back to Stratty. So it's another short trip from Brisbane by ferry. There's beaches, there's gorges, there's lakes, and this is North Stradbroke. There's a South Stradbroke as well, but the east side of the island, it's a surfing mecca, which is fabulous. But I do also want to give a shout out to Bo Beans over there. Now, Bo Beans on North Stradbroke, I have to make this call now as well. They do the best coffee, and I drink a lot of coffee, so I obviously don't get to go there too often to have a cup, but if you're there, go to Bo Beans. It's great coffee there at Amity Point, and they're also in the same premises as Rufus King's Seafood, so the freshest seafood you can get. Think prawns, bugs, you name it. Not maybe the bugs that some of our viewers...
Moreton Bay bugs.
Moreton Bay bugs. They
delicious.
are seafood.
Yeah.
So North Stradbroke is wonderful. Then obviously we've got South Stradbroke as well, and that's all about surf and seclusion. It's a hop across from the Gold Coast. In fact, the closest part is about 200 metres from the northern end of the Spit. And I just want to say, many years ago, I sea biked over to South Stradbroke from the mainland. And as the name suggests, it's a bike for the sea. I hope you can still do that. So if anyone in the comments has done it, or maybe is planning to, report back and let us know.
And just a reminder where this story all started today. Our live stream all began with American Airlines, that very first inaugural flight from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport into Brisbane, opening up a new connection between the people of Texas and the people of Queensland.
Yes.
That first flight arriving this morning, well and truly full of American tourists here to experience. We also heard through our live chat from one of the passengers on board, and how
Yes.
cool was that they were live streaming
Yes.
their flight from seat, was it 25?
Yes,
25?
Yeah, it's been.
So that's
With
where
her
our
son.
story started today, is to celebrate the arrival of that service, that new service, which over the next few months will bring thousands of tourists into Queensland, and also offer up new connectivity back through Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport to 200 destinations right across the globe in that part of the world. And so really, that's our starting point. That's why we did our live stream today.
It is.
And that aircraft here, it'll stay on this bay until about lunchtime, while we do media tours and some training, and also some travel agent visits. And then the aircraft will be towed off the bay, because we need it to get some other flights in and out, down to probably gate 87, where it will spend the night. That's when we'll bring in the weather crew this afternoon to do their weather live from there. And then tomorrow morning, it will be brought back to the gate. We'll load them up with their brookie cookie, their cowboy version.
Yes.
And send them on their way. And look, this has been the #1 tracked aircraft over the past 24 hours, thanks to Flight Radar 24. And a big shout out to them. They've done a great job in helping promote this flight, and we're really grateful to them. But let's see if the return flight is as popular. Lots of
wish
people.
I was jumping. Yeah,
You wish you were jumping on?
Yes, I was. I was really lucky, as we mentioned earlier, to visit Texas earlier this year, and I was on an American Airlines flight, which was probably similar to what our passengers have come in on today. And I spent a bit of time in Dallas and Fort Worth. It was for, just to rehash, I produce travel shows at Channel 7, a local network here in Australia. And
When can we see the next stories on Dallas-Fort Worth?
On Dallas-Fort Worth. So that will be in a couple of weeks' time. It's not this Saturday, but next Saturday, and that's at 7 p.m. nationally on Channel 7. The show's called The Great Outdoors, and it's it was once it had a short break. It's had a break for 12 years.
It had a holiday.
It had a holiday. holiday.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
And now it's back.
And now it's back. And so we're all about showcasing domestic and international destinations. And some of those were Texas. So Dallas and Fort Worth, you'll see those stories go to air on Saturday, November 9 at 7 p.m. nationally on Channel 7. Dallas, and we look at both the cities because while they're close, they're quite different. So Dallas is cosmopolitan city. Obviously, you've got your city skyline, and there's murals, and there's the smoked meats, and you get this. It's a real introduction to Texas, and it's still got that Western charm. If you're going there to seek that, there's on the streets, there's boot shops, and you can go get your boots sized up, your hats as well. We've got a couple of hats here today. And then when you go across to, we might put them on for the end of the stream because we say g'day to everyone here, but we'll say howdy at the end. But Fort Worth is not far from Dallas, and that is kind of the Wild West. And so Fort Worth, we went to the stockyards there, and the stockyards, it's like a mini city in itself. There's bars, there's accommodation, there's the weekly rodeo, which is just amazing. It's something we enjoy a bit of here, a bit of the PBI here as well in Australia. So you've got the rodeo. We also, and that's held in Cowtown Coliseum. Love that name. I think that's awesome. We also did a couple of fun things over there. They do a annual boot trot, and as that name also suggests, it's a fun run in cowboy boots. And so our crew was there. We did that. And maybe you will next year as well.
I think that sounds really good. Texas, catch that episode in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes,
the Great Outdoors
Saturday,
in
November
Australia.
9.
Can you see it overseas or just Australia for now?
You'll see little clips on our social media, so that'll be on Facebook and also Instagram. And if you are in Australia, you can stream it through 7 Plus to watch the full episode.
And congratulations to you as series producer who has taken this show. It's been a prime time success.
It has been a prime time success.
Will we see another series?
We will see another series. We're in production for that at the moment, and we'll commence filming shortly. We will go back to the US. I'm going to say that here now.
Right. Okay.
Maybe back to Texas. There's
really
lots more to explore there. So on this season we did Dallas and Fort Worth, just to recap, and we also went north up to Amarillo, which sits on Route 66. It's very close to the midway point of Route 66, and that's a big bucket list item for many Australians heading over there.
Now, another aircraft, and this is our final one of the stream, folks. It is, of course, the Emirates A380. It's coming in from Dubai. It left 13 hours and 8 minutes ago. Now, interestingly, this was the longest route in the Brisbane International Network until today. So from today, Dallas-Fort Worth, Brisbane, takes over as being the longest route. This was the previous longest route. Emirates flying here twice a day. And we had the amazing NBA livery aircraft in the other day, and a huge number of spotters out to see that. But it's on final. We're going to capture this from every angle because we have our runway cam deployed out there. We've got Luke out there, all our cameras trained on it.
So many angles here.
Look at that aircraft. It is quite stunning to get up close and underneath that aircraft, and just the role it's played in world aviation, the A380.
Yes.
But then,
I've taken that flight before.
You have?
Yes, I have. That was earlier this year, and that was from a trip I did to Switzerland.
Do you get sick of travelling?
No, never.
Okay, that's why you do what you do.
I love it. That's why I do it. It warms the heart. There's just something really exciting about travel. So I feel a bit emotional as that flight comes in.
Really?
Because for me, that's coming back to Brisbane. That means the stories we've gone away to film and produce. Part of that journey has come to an end, and when we come back, it's all about reviewing the vision, putting the show together.
What's it like being a travel producer when your partner is the cameraman? How does that go down? How does that work?
It's great. It's
top 3 things.
Top 3 things. We love reviewing the vision at the end of the day. That's a really important process to make sure all that vision that we've spent hours filming that day is safe. It's on a hard drive. It's duplicates made, and reviewing that hard day of work. As the producer, we travel on a crew of 3, so we've got a camera operator and also a presenter, and it's chatting with them how the day went. Look at that. Yes, my Switzerland memories are coming to mind after stopping over in Dubai and landing in Brisbane.
So there will be a Series 2. You will be coming through Brisbane Airport and you will be travelling the world again.
Yes. The show is proudly made here in Brisbane. So Brisbane Airport, it is the gateway for pretty much all of our journeys. So there will be another season of the show. We are hoping to get back to Texas. I loved the time over there. It was just wonderful. But of course, the world's kind of our oyster, really.
Yeah. So we're going to start wrapping up. There's a few people I want to thank. Firstly, all our camera crews out in the field. Luke Mears from River City Studios, assisted by Kayla, who was beside the runway. A big thank you to Runway Cam. Guys, you have been the star. You have been stunning. Hit like right now if you agree with me. Thank you, Anthony Shorten from Aerial Advantage. His pilot, Lenny, so the guy driving that car is actually a pilot. He was going to fly the helicopter when we were going to do it as a helicopter. Then when we changed it to a Tesla, he said,
can do that too.
I'm still coming. So thank you to Lenny, who's been driving, but also our big team of Brisbane Airport safety drivers who've been out there ensuring that what we did today not only gave us great pictures, but was safe, right? It had to be
Very safe.
So that's why we got the most experienced members of our team, and I'm talking about Adrian Pond, Aaron Pond and Adrian Bettini. Sorry about that, Pondy and Adrian, who have done a great job today getting our camera to where it needs to be. And also Greg Burke, who's assisted us. He's our fleet manager who's been converting all those cars to electric. He's been out there as well. And so good, Greg, we saw the lightning out there as well. Also thanks to our production cameraman, Maverick Chang. Our photographers, you will see their photos online. You'll see them in newspapers. So thanks, Josh Wanning, who's been out there. And also a shout out to Pixel Punk Pictures, who has been getting some great pictures. Thank you to our aviation team here at Brisbane Airport, who do a great job to bring these airlines to Brisbane for us, and they've done a great job with American Airlines. They travel the world meeting these airlines. That's another tough job. You've got a tough job being a travel reporter. They've got a tough job travelling the world, talking to airlines. But a big shout out to all our aviation team, including Julie, Kirsty, Anthony Longhorn Ciccatini, Daniel Yelf and Ryan Boff, who leads that team and has been back in the terminal doing lots of interviews. Have a look at the engines on those. That is quite an incredible shot. There are lots of other people who've helped make our live stream possible all across the airport, and I say thank you to us. Thank you to them for really, when I come up to them and said I need to take over this spot, or I need 8 car parks, or I need something else, everybody has said yes. So thank you. But also thank you for you as being our co-host. I hope you've had fun.
I've had fun. I actually just looked at the time and went, we've been talking for quite a while, which is, I think you and I could talk for hours on end. No, and thank you. And also I think for getting us to Texas, it's a thank you to American Airlines at Brisbane Airport and also Travel Texas, who helped us pick the best spots to go as part of those stories for the great outdoors. And thank you to our crew for getting that job done as well.
And without being biased, you travelled to a lot of places. The Texas stories came up. They were the best looking stories, right? Seriously,
it's hard to pick a favourite. They're all wonderful
you know
destinations.
that because you look at the promo for the show, you look at your promo, the 60-second promo, and there were more Texas shots in there than anywhere else, right?
Well, a Cadillac, I think cruising on the Mother Road of the Route 66 is very much a standout, and that was a big promo shot of this is the great outdoors. So, but a big thank you to our casting crew and everyone who helps make our show happen. It's been wonderful, and here we go for another season. So, and I think a big thank you to you, Pete, as well, because you've managed to bring this entire operation together. And I think it was a couple of months ago we were actually at a Queensland tourism event, and I think you casually asked me, "Hey, do you want to co-host this stream with me?"
And you had no idea what you were getting into.
I went, of course, and then here we are today. So
look at the wheels on that. That is extraordinary shots. This is a live stream like no other. We hope you've enjoyed it, no matter where in the world you've tuned in from, be it America, be it across Australia, be it in Sydney and Melbourne. We are really happy that these pictures were also shown through our TV networks here on Channel 7 and Channel 9 as we watch the Emirates A380 pull up at the gate. Very interestingly, Brisbane Airport is quite unique in that you can go to the lounge and then you can board straight from the lounge onto the top deck of the
Yes.
A380. I've not done it, but I'm told it's very nice.
Yes, very
but it's one of
special.
the few places in the world where you can do that, and really makes that special. And really what we're about is creating special memories for people, connecting the world. That's what we're here
Connecting
for.
the world.
And this new American Airlines flight, which we were seeing earlier, really is about connecting people to that Dallas region. There it is, sitting down there, all the tails. That's a great shot showing
Look at
the
that.
international terminal.
Yep.
Quite a few Qantas now. That's interesting. You've got Qantas on that bay and American Airlines next to it. They are partners in this flight to Dallas. So you can book through Qantas or you can book through American Airlines, and they're working together on this route. As some have pointed out, Qantas did fly this route many, many years ago. It's not been with us for quite a while, so we are so excited that today we can bring it back for people to enjoy.
Absolutely, and welcome them to Brisbane and beyond.
Absolutely. And at our media launch later, lots of fun things. We should throw the hats on for
We
our,
should throw the
for our
hats on.
wrap-up shot. There you go. They don't actually fit on the headphones
They
too
don't.
well. It's a bit dorky, right? It is a bit weird.
I kind of like it because we say g'day here in Australia, and now I think we can say howdy today. Can I keep it?
You can keep it. That's what my media release says. It says howdy to American Airlines, which
Howdy
is about to go
indeed.
out to the world.
It does look a
But yeah, you can keep that hat. There you go. And you can have your brookie cookie as well.
bit fabulous, which some of our passengers will be enjoying. They might already even be enjoying them now, these brookie cookies. We're looking before at the date on there. Obviously today is the 28th, and there's the 2 cookies, as we mentioned earlier, one for passengers
Just
arriving.
check that shot out there.
at
Look
that.
how amazing that looks there. That is a totally cool capture there from our runway cam. You do not see shots like that
No,
anywhere.
you
Isn't
don't.
that is cool, right? I'm looking at our other streamers here saying, have you seen that before? No. I'm getting a no. That is the coolest shot.
Look at
There'll
that.
be engineering people in our chat hopefully telling us what that is. Just such a cool shot. Really interesting capture there. We said we wanted to give people a front row seat to the airport. That's what we've done, and we've really been able to do it, and really cool shots. So, again, thank you. The final thank you goes to our audience around the world, wherever you've tuned in from. Thank you for spending your time. We know your time is valuable. The fact that you've had it maybe at home, maybe on the train or the bus, on your
Yep.
iPad or your iPhone, wherever you've streamed it from, this is the reason we came on air. It was that AA7 flight from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport to Brisbane. Doesn't that tail look fantastic?
Oh, it does. Those colours there too, the red and the blue.
Yeah.
The
A
flag on
really
the side.
stunning aircraft, which we're going to see 5 times a week through Brisbane over the next few weeks, rising to 7 from December, and that's because that's when it really picks up for the Christmas
Of
rush.
course, yes.
And we're looking forward to welcoming many people to Brisbane. So a big welcome to everybody around the world. Thank you for joining us for this stream. Sammy Cheney, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Pete. I've loved every moment. I wish we could keep chatting all morning.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day wherever you are.
Welcome to our world, where business thrives, people connect, and careers soar. This is the world of Brisbane Airport Corporation, powered by a diverse and talented team, committed to improving our airport and creating better experiences every day. We are forward-thinking, building spaces for businesses to call home, driving innovation, and taking on unique challenges. We expand horizons, introducing new airlines and destinations, while advancing sustainability, ensuring we grow responsibly and support our community. We are driven and determined because we're inspired by our workplace. We know our work has purpose and impact, as we are part of something that is much more than just an airport. That's what makes Brisbane Airport Corporation exceptional. We are a team with a culture of passion and commitment. Collaboration beats at the heart of everything we do. Communication fosters teamwork. Courage propels us forward. And care is our strong foundation.
Brisbane Airport has an exciting future and our team is key to its success. For us, no 2 days are ever the same. The work we do is challenging, rewarding, and full of new and exciting opportunities to learn and grow. As an award-winning employer of choice, we know that it takes a real team effort to run a major airport, and we are proud to do it together as we connect the world and create the future.